Hey guys, how's it going? So we're gonna be doing something that is a little bit different. If you don't know what this is a kind of a state of the game for FragPunk. If you don't know what FragPunk is, go play it. It's awesome. Um, and if you don't know who I am, I'm Brandon. I'm one of the moderators for the game FragPunk, and this is kind of like what's going on with the game and kind of the general thoughts and opinions on what's going on with the game and just overall basic community sentiments for it. So we're gonna get into it. The reason I call it good and bad and ugly is because we're going to split it up into 3 to 4 different sections of the game. So um, let's get into what is the good in the game. Oh, and yep, there you go. Sorry. So the good parts of Fragpunk is the game itself. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's just a great a great addition to the genre of tactical shooters. You know, the shooting mechanics does feel really good. I thoroughly enjoy it. The card system is unique. It adds variety to each round. Some of them are just absolutely ridiculously bonkers. I don't know how the heck they, um, come up with this stuff. For the most part, the lances are balanced. I know there's going to be a balance update for next patch, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But for the most part, the lances are balanced. Again, there's kind of some, I'd say, a little bit more balance is needed for some of them, but that's neither here nor there. Lots of game modes to choose from. If you don't like the main mode, which is Shard Clash, you can, do something like Team Deathmatch or something really fun like the Outbreak mode, or just anything that tickles your fancy. You can do with. The other game modes. It's called arcade for a reason because that's part of the game modes that you can have fun. The maps are well designed. They're easy to learn, hard to master. It's just basically all of them are 3 lanes, but you add variations to it. Some of them have terrain deformation where it changes, like let's say a part of it rotates, or part of it doesn't rotate, or there's something crazy that happens, like a bridge just drops down. That's kind of like, and you can learn like different positioning tactics within each map. So yeah, that's good. I love the maps on there. They actually have a benchmark test on there, which is awesome. I love that. More games should put benchmark tests in the game. It says, hey, if your game is not running properly, here's how. This is the settings that you use. Maybe turn this off or maybe turn that on. It's a really nice addition to the game, I think. And the overall aesthetic is actually really well done. It's kind of like this, let's throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, basically. So, but coming soon, next patch, it'll be 70 new shark cards. I think that the number they put is 64. So I put 70 just in case, because they're like subtracting each one too. I think it is going to be 64. It's yeah. So it would add a lot more variety with each round. You got a new Lancer. His name is Dex. Um, I haven't seen what he actually looks like, but like on the surface with his kit and everything, he might be a good addition to the Lancer roster. and but he might be really strong at launch because I know one of them is like he pops like a shield of some sort or like a damage reduction technique that they use, and snipers, will have reduced damage or not even deal damage to him at all on one round, I think. I'm not really sure how that works. We'll see what his kit looks and feels like, either with a video or with a like ability reveal sometime soon. New map changes. I absolutely love all of the map changes. I think they were sorely needed because snipers were really, really strong in this game. Not necessarily like overpowered or anything like that, but I think they were really, really strong and really, really just not good for the game, because you want kind of a balance between long range engages and then short range engages. You want that kind of variety into that gameplay, and I think with the new changes, I think that's going to be a really good addition to the game. New game modes, and they're also tweaking the existing game modes and making gameplay improvements on top of that. That's an awesome thing to do, especially with stuff like I'd say with Outbreak mode. With Outbreak mode, kind of like the general status of that is you sit on like a ledge of a building basically, and it's the zombies can't get anywhere near that because, well, it's like, how do you get up on top of that? Now they've added shard cards for shard cards and shard card balancing for not only the survivors but also the zombies, which is actually, I think, is going to be really, really cool. There's also a slew of balance changes, both weapons and lancers. You can look at the patch notes in the Discord and also on pretty much all of their social media channels. You can take a look at that. There's also a couple of bug fixes. We'll get to the stuff that I think about that in a little bit. And then there's also the console release. That's also next Tuesday, April 29th. So I know us and the mod team are really excited about that. I'm personally excited about that because that's also a slew of new players coming in and joining the game. I know that it's been a long time coming, and I know that that delay was really, really rough on all of us, basically. So, yeah, hopefully you'll all enjoy that and, hop into the game and just have fun with it. Another good thing is the community engagement events. So as the mod team, part of the mod team, our community has been awesome. There's like a couple of bad apples here and there, but by and large, the community itself is just an absolute treat to, interact with on a daily basis. And I'm very fortunate and lucky to be a part of that, the moderation team. So, that being said, the Discord, Reddit, and Twitter events has been a hit. I absolutely love the trivia stuff. I'm a personal sucker for trivia. I love trivia. That's been great. The present one, which is the card war, which you make your own cards and just think of wacky and crazy ideas that you can put into the game. The guest the voice. This is the second time they're running it, and it's been absolutely amazing there. The April Fool's event, the mosquitoes versus frogs, that's been really, really fun. We'll get to that in a little bit, but all of these events has just been really, really fun, and it's been a hit with the community, especially within us moderator team. I know behind the scenes we were all talking about the trivia and who did better and everything like that, and that was really, really fun. So the communication with the lead project manager Zin has been absolutely fantastic. We just I'll call him Wholesome Zin because, he you can tell that he has a lot of love and passion and care for the game, and it just really, really shows to not only from his videos but also his, breakdown of, you know, future features that are coming into the game. That's been absolutely fantastic, and the community really loves Zen. Us moderate team loves Zen. So yeah, he's awesome. So the in-game events has been really, really good. Again, the April Fool's event has been absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love that. We need more along the lines of like just crazy, wacky ideas that they can put in there, and even like this is kind of like a suggestion for future events that, hey, let's put in lore in there, put in lore for in-game events. That'd be really nice. I think that's going to be like in the near future, maybe. So. The mosquitoes versus frogs for the April Fool's event was really good. I really like the kind of the arcadey, the arms that go around with, the Gloonite coins and stuff that you can unlock. That was really fun. I don't know if it's gonna, if these events, both in social media, in Discord, or the in-game events, actually helps player retention. That's kind of, up in the air. But by and large, the events have been a hit. I've really enjoyed it personally. So, and then, the high-level streamers like Shroud and 10Z have brought in a lot of players, especially right at the beginning, and that's also been great for the game and great for the community because a lot of these streamers are actually really great people who know. So, and then time to get into the bad. Unfortunately, I have to start off with the elephant in the room, which is the anti-cheat. This is not something that I want to discuss like personally because, I in every single game that I play, I don't cheat. But this is something that has kind of been a pain point for the community in general, which is, the anti-cheat has been kind of hit or miss. The bans are doing something, but I don't think it's enough. I don't know if it's going to be a lack of sample size or if it's a, software issue, maybe it's something on the back end, but, the bans are doing something. They're posting, hey, we're banning a whole bunch of people. And it's, that's great. That's wonderful, but I don't think it's enough. And then again, I think the anti-cheat is swinging too far to where it's creating collateral damage, meaning, they're banning people when they actually aren't cheating, and I'm getting I got a whole bunch of different messages on the Discord saying, hey, I've been banned. Why have I been banned? I didn't cheat, and we'll get into the response to that. It's not been great, but, that also leads to, there's no appeal process. Usually in cases such as false positive or false ban, there's ways that the community member can appeal to that process. It could be something like, hey, provide some evidence that said you didn't cheat. Here's our evidence to say, hey, you did cheat. Here's and then you provide something that says, hey, I didn't cheat. There's no programs on here. There's got to be at least some due process within the anti-cheat system, or else, you run into something like what's happening in, the Discord and social media is like, hey, I've been banned. I didn't cheat. What's going on? So I think the way to counteract that is manual reviews. There are ways that, somebody can watch a replay and go, yep, he cheated. I'm not going to get into like the nitty gritty details of that, but yeah, there are ways that somebody can sit down, look at the a video and go, yeah, he cheated. He needs to be banned. And there's also ways that you look at a review and go, no, he didn't cheat. He can stay within, he can continue to play. Right now, there is no manual review of players. I heard from the grapevine there's going to be something in the near future that they're going to start doing some sort of manual review. I don't know what it is yet, but as of present, it's all automated. It's all computerized, and it kind of led me to a question of, when you report somebody in game, is it actually doing anything? Because there were times where 100% I was convinced that, hey, there was cheating, or there was TOS violation or something along those lines. Apologies. And I would get like, yeah, we're going to be reviewing it, and I didn't hear anything back. So is the report system doing anything? Like, are people getting banned? I don't know. And I think the kernel level system isn't doing anything. I've gotten some reports that like there's now third-party websites that are, actively, developing cheats for FragPunk, and it's only been almost 2 months now, and it is easily bypassed. So we'll get to kind of solutions to the anti-cheat in a later slide, but there's also, with the anti-cheat system, there's also root cause issues like TOS violations, account sharing, botting. I said bottling. I don't know. It's supposed to be botting. Sorry. Those root cause issues of the anti-cheat system is not being addressed. Like, I've gotten so many messages in Discord saying, "Hey, why is there bots in ranked?" And I'm just like, I don't have an answer to that. What do you want me to say? I don't know, And especially account sharing. Personally, I think that's a big problem, because people can go from one account to the other and not have any repercussions when they go from like, hey, this is let's say a golden account. Now they're switching over to a a really high-end, Punk Master account. They're playing on there, and then when they go to the gold account, they're taking their elo. They're not winning games. They're griefing their matches just so their elo is actually very, very low. And according to the TOS, that's not allowed, but people still do that. People still go on and tank their elo just so they could, I guess, play with their friends. I have no idea why they do that, but that is still very much a big issue. So, player support. As the moderator team, this has been a big pain, not only to the community itself, but it's also a big pain to us moderators, because it is just, I wish they would do more. But again, the appeals process for false bans is pretty much non-existent. You're actually going to a email, which is the same email as the technical support and bug report, and it's not sufficient enough. It's like you have one email for pretty much everything player related, and they're probably getting thousands upon thousands of emails, and no way of sifting through which one is more important than the other. And it's led to Discord being kind of the de facto technical support system. The problem, though, is that not everybody has a background in IT. I do. I have a background in IT, thank goodness. But not everybody, especially the moderator team, not everybody has a background in information technology. So when a problem does exist, we're now trying to deal with that instead of the developers who, it might be a game breaking bug, but if you send that through an email and it gets lost in the shuffle, then that game breaking bug is still in the game and it's not being triaged. It's not being handled properly. So that needs to be addressed kind of immediately. So, and then I also noticed that the website support is not existent either, because it's the same thing. Like, you hit the feedback button, you type in your response, and it gets sent into the same email as everything else. And again, that's not indicative of a proper support system for the players. You need that proper support system for the players, because if you do not, players are get upset. Players are, saying this thing is happening. Why is there no response to this? And it's led to players having to wait for weeks for a response. I think the longest one that was on the Discord was 3 weeks. That is if they even get a response, because there's some emails that are being sent from the player base that is not even getting a response. And at least in the bare minimum, they should reply to an email and say, "Hey, we see this email. We're gonna take a look at it." That's all they have to do, and not having a response is kind of a disservice to the community in general, which has led to a developer-publisher communication being a pain point. Apart from Zin and I think one other developer on the FragPunk kind of stops by and say, "Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I'm going to gather some feedback onto it," which is great. The only problem is I wish other parts of the development team were on Discord or Reddit or Facebook or Twitter, actively having that communication with the community in general. Other than Zin and that particular developer, it's been radio silent. And the problem, though, is that community feedback isn't being addressed, especially with major bugs in the game. We'll get to another pain point with the game itself, but community feedback isn't being addressed. There's still long-standing issues within the game that the community itself is raising a red flag and saying, "Hey, this is a problem. Maybe you should address this now," and nothing. And that also leads to there's pretty much virtually zero communication with the moderators and admins. Now I don't know about helpers or any admins of any of the servers or the moderators on other social media platforms, but here on Discord with just the regular moderator teams, I haven't heard of any of the developers. It's been eerily silent, and that kind of concerns me, because right before there was another game that I was moderator for called Shatterline. There's a video and the Twitch as well, and for about a year and a half, it was radio silent. There was no developer communication at all, apart from, "Hey, here's a meaningless patch here," and it was just what's going on? What's happening? We're basically flying blind here. And this was right before they partnered up with something. It's just a whole thing. Again, you can go to the video about that I posted, I think about not a year ago. This was back in I'd say September, October. But yeah, it's not good, and the communication needs to be addressed. And although posting the amount of bans is good, it's basically useless because players are like, well, yeah, you're banning these people, but what about, this long-standing bug of, hey, you know, hey, people are getting kicked out of matches after 15 minutes and getting straight to login. Are you going to address that? And nothing. It's like, well, yeah, you're banning people. Great, wonderful. What about this issue? Hey, you're banning people. That's awesome. Well done. What about this issue? And it's just like nothing. So, which goes back to one email address for everything in within the community. Why is that a thing? It needs to be like one email for bug support, one email for feedback, one email for technical issues. If the people on the Discord can't solve it, or the people who are on Reddit can't solve it, then you go into this email, and having one email for everything, again, the chances of your email being lost in a shuffle is really, really high, and it should not be there. And there's also no system to report bugs that are efficient and timely. So something like, hey, there's a game-breaking bug. You send an email, and again, it gets lost in a shuffle, and there's nothing. It's not addressed. It's not doing anything. We'll get into kind of the solutions to that, but if there's a bug in there, there should be some response to that, especially if it's like a game-breaking bug to where, again, one of the biggest problems, it's not a big it's not like a big problem to where it's like half of all the people are experiencing it, but there is a small minority of players within the game to where they would get into a match, and then 15 minutes later, they get sent back into the login page. And I've been trying for about a month now to try to diagnose and see why that is. Why are people getting sent back into the login page? I can't do that because I don't have the tools to do that. The developers do. Of course they do. They have debugging tools, and they have developer kits right there at their disposal, so they can apply a patch, test it out, and see why that is. And us lowly moderator teams who are just regular players like you and me, we don't have those tools. So we need a more efficient system to say, hey, this is a bug. That's up to you to triage to it. So. And then we'll go into the uglies, which is the monetization system. I know this is a big pain point, but it's like, well, there are some good aspects to that. But right off the bat, the gacha system is very, very predatory. I absolutely do not like the gacha system. And this is someone who, like me personally, I haven't spent money on like the pop cans there, but this is something that, at least for me, this is one of the biggest things that needs to change is the gacha system. It is absolutely predatory, and it's awful. Like, they added a gacha system in League of Legends. I quit in League of Legends. Like, there are times where I'd use the gacha system, and I'm like, what's the point? Like, people are going to spend ridiculous amounts of money in this system and not going to get anything that they want. It's like, well, there's a pity system, and it's like 0.1% of what of the pity system you're going to get something that you want. That's not good. It sucks, and I hate it. And even the people in the community, they hate it as well. So it's not just it's not just a me thing. This is like a community thing. They don't like it either. But direct purchases of skins is fine. I really enjoyed the Lancer, not the Sonar Lancer skin, the one with the basketball. I love that skin. That skin is really well done, and I actually like plunked money down on that. I even bought the Pioneer bundle. I really love that, skin bundle as well. I've spent money on this game, and that's fine. That's awesome. If if the developers make great quality skins, people will pay money for that, and especially if it's priced decently. You don't want a group of players to where you present them a skin and it's $200 and now it's like out of reach for the vast majority of the community. You want high quality skins at a good price, and people will pay money for that. You don't need a gotcha system. You need just a good monetary system, and this just isn't it. Because again, there's lots of FOMO. What FOMO is fear of missing out. And there is a ton of FOMO in this game, and it needs to stop. If they want it, take the League of Legends approach to it. If they make a skin, it's there forever. Well, by and large, there are some like limited time skins, but they'll note when that like limited time is, and it's like 3 months. So people have enough time to purchase that, and then afterwards, they if they don't purchase it, that's fine. They can go into like the Hextech chest system for free, basically. So there's options to where people can purchase what they want, but when you have an arbitrary time limit on it, there's that FOMO. There's that fear of, oh, I need to get this skin right now, and to me that screams that we don't know. That's not correct. It screams that like you need to have this. You need to spend money right now, or this is gone forever. And again, that's very predatory, and that needs to stop as well. And it kind of leads to the next the point, which is this is the reliance of a very outdated system in whale engagements. This has been going on for, like 20, 25 years now. And it's shown that it's kind of has a mixed reaction. Some people, really have a good engagement with the system, but you're also over reliant on whales. The people who are spending thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars, were in a world where disposable income is getting rarer and rarer to come by. And that also leads to too many currencies. It needs to be streamlined. The next patch, they're going to be combining weapon skin keys and Lancer skin keys into one currency. That's a good start, but I don't think it's enough. There was like a video from, I think it was Angry Joe, where they were breaking down all the currencies in there, and there was 12. Why are there 12 currencies? It should be just streamlined into. Well, we'll get into that. Kind of a spoiler alert. It should be streamlined into 2 currencies. That's it. Whoop. Sorry about that. Kind of a spoiler alert. But it's also increasingly that the cost of skins in this game is way too high. You're asking about $20, $30, $40 for a skin, and that's just, people are going to kind of hesitate and go, I don't know if that's worth it or not. Yes, this skin quality is actually pretty high, but asking for $20, $30, $40 for a skin, and even higher if you're going to like the gacha mechanic, then people are spending like hundreds of dollars just to get into something like that Ari skin. I forgot what Ari skin is, but people are spending hundreds of dollars on that, and that's not acceptable. It needs to be fairly. It needs to be fairly priced, and it needs to be of a good quality. And if the skin is of good quality, okay. If the skin is of good quality and it's priced fairly, people will pay for it. But if it's good quality, but it's out like so expensive that you know people are gonna second guess and go, maybe maybe I shouldn't purchase this, because it's gonna be like a certain percentage of their monthly income, and that's just unacceptable. So, and it also goes into conversion rates. I think there's been a multiple community post within our bot on Discord and say, hey, the currency system with the conversion rate is way too high. Like $20 in the United States is like $50 in Brazil, or $75. I'm just using examples. I don't actually know the conversion rates, but it's like, hey, this is not this is slowly becoming out of reach for us. We really like the skins, but the conversion rate is terrible. And we'll get into the solutions, but it should be in regional pricing. So, there's also an over-reliance of high purchases, but there is literally no low-cost purchases. So, think about the skins in the game, okay? Think about, anything that is customizable in the game. It could be anything from Lancer skins to, it could be weapon skins. It could be, anything from, pretty much anything from the store. Now, think about what's in that store and what is $5 and below. And you'd be hard pressed to find anything worth $5 or below. Like, there's no Lancer skins that are $5 below. Sure, there's some that you can earn from in-game progression that are free, but if you want, like I said, if you want the sports skins, you're gonna have to plunk down $20 a pop, and you're also going to have to, if you want to buy in a bundle, you're going to spend even more. And right now, in the store, there's really no low-cost purchases. There's no like $5, $10 purchases. There's only like $20 and up, and I don't think that's acceptable. If you give something that is reasonably priced and it's high quality, people will pay for it and it will sell. But with this over-reliance of high cost purchases, you run into a risk of RMT in shady sectors. Like, I've perused the websites of a lot of these, a lot of these storefronts that are offering accounts from, FragPunk, from CS2 to, all of these websites that are offering accounts. And you're with these high accounts and you're like, hey, you can get this Kismet, this very, very rare Kismet skin on this account. You pay $25, $30. Here's the account. You run the risk of RMTs, which is against the terms of service, but it's also against, rules of Discord and everything like that. And with these high prices, we're going to run into a risk of account sharing again, which is against EOS. With that being said, the more recent EU rules, I don't know what the impact is going to be. So if you haven't been privy to the recent news on the European Union and their monetization, let's say, and this applies to like a horse game, which is really weird. But anyways, let's say you have a skin on your, skin on the website, skin on in the game. I'm sorry, and it's $20. Okay, you purchase $20 of currency. It equals to 2,000 coins. Then, with that store, you need to, it needs to be 2,000 coins. It can't be like 1,900 or 1,800. It has to be 2,000 coins exactly. And I don't know what's going to be the impact of that. It could be something like, hey, this applies to all games everywhere, instead of just like this, really weird, like really weird mobile horse game. It's, yeah. So that kind of remains to be seen. If it does apply, then they have to really rework the monetization system from the ground up, basically. So another one is the UX UI. Everybody that I know hates the UX UI on the client, including me. It sucks. I hate it. There's so much going on, and if you want to do something simple, you have to navigate through multiple pages. I do have to say, though, the homepage is fine. There's also good customization options. You can change the background of that to either having it on a rotation or just on a fixed one. That's really good. I love that. We need more customization options in the menu. But there's also very confusing menu options, especially in the customizations of stuff like lancers and weapons. Why do I have to navigate multiple menus just to find where I can change the chat options, so I could, the chat skin, so where I can type to my teammates and it changes into like another thing. Why do I have to navigate through three different menus just to change the skin of my Lancer? Why three? Should be right on the customization page. The Constellation event, for example, that's buried under 3 to 4 different menu options when it should be under Store, Constellation. There you go. It's just, there's way too many menus, but there's not enough substance within those menus. It's like you go to a store. The store has all of the pages, but there's also like, tabs within that page to where, you want to do a Constellation event, where you click on the store and you're looking at the store and go, where's the Constellation event? I don't see it. Where you go into, where you want to see what's in your bag, basically. You have to go into store, then bag, then click on that. And it's like, why not just have it on the main? It's so bad. And if you want to do like bug reports or technical feedback within the game, you press that support point and it brings up a browser within the client. It runs like crap. It's so bad, and it needs to be overhauled. Just give us an option of clicking that, getting like a small pop-up window in there and say, hey, what do you need? Oh, I need to do bug reports, and it'll take you to an actual browser that you use. And you can type in what you want, click away on it, get back into the game, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Also, the stats page is very, very bare bones. It's like it lists KDA win rates, headshot percentage, and that's about it. Whereas if you take a look at something like League of Legends, they list everything under the sun, and in terms of their endgame stat page. It's like, if you want to learn how many turrets you've done, boom, it's right there. How much damage you've done to turrets, it's right there. Like but for like FragPunk, if I want to learn how many gadgets I've destroyed, I can't look that up. There's no API to, so developers can't really, build tools to expand upon the statistics of the page. So we're just basically stuck with 3, maybe 4 stats, and it needs to be expanded. But the good thing is, though, that if you're in queue within the game, and if it's like a particularly long queue, which is becoming a frequent problem, but I digress, while you're in queue, you have the option of playing a scrimmage, which is a PvP. It's like a team deathmatch. You can, you know, get in there with people who are also either going in the scrimmage or, you know, going into like also in queue for matches, and you can just mess around and have fun, test out different kits, different weapons. You know, it's great. And you can also do it within a PvE environment with a practice area. That's also great. That's also wonderful. We need more warm-up options for that, like maybe, you know, an aim trainer or something like that. But I digress. Here is another pain point within the community, which is the servers and technical issues. I've heard nothing but problems with this game. Personally, I think it needed a little bit more time in the oven, but hindsight's 2020. So what people don't know is that it has the same server locations as Marvel Rivals. That's how I learned it. That's how I learned where the server locations is like, oh, they use the same server locations as Marvel Rivals because, well, they're both NetEase published games, so that makes sense. But it's not the same server infrastructure. So with Marvel Rivals, they actually had to scale it up to something that is a lot more stable. Whereas with FragPunk, I don't know what they use for their server infrastructure, but it is not working. Like, there are frequent, like I've gotten a lot of reports for frequent route flapping issues. I've gotten, you know, ping spikes issues. I've gotten lost packet data issues. There's so many problems with the servers. That being said, there's also a certain section of players that are just shut out entirely. Else they have like triple digit or even quadruple digit ping, and that is the MENA and South African people. You know, MENA meaning Middle East, North Africa. They're pretty much out of. They have one server issue, and that's in Saudi Arabia. But if you're someone in like Nigeria, for example, and you go into the Saudi Arabia servers, you're going to have a tough time with triple digit ping, you know. And even like the South American server, there's one in Brazil, and that's it. Whereas like if you go to, I'm going to use League of Legends again, where you go to League of Legends, they have two. They have one in Brazil, and they have one for Central America, which is actually in Miami, Florida. I don't know why they did that, but hey, it works out, so no complaints here. And it's just, and for Europe, they have one server, and that's in Germany, I think Frankfurt, Germany, and that's not enough. Especially with, you know, you have people from Russia, you have people from Ukraine. They love FPS games, especially the Ukrainians. They love FPS games. You know, you have the certain subset of people that kind of are congruent to like one server location, and then the server infrastructure isn't handling it very well. And so you're getting, again, route flapping issues, you're getting bandwidth issues, you're getting all these problems within the server that, you know, it's hard to diagnose from a front end perspective, let alone a back end perspective. But I also put in MinRec systems. What MinRec systems is, for those of you who don't know, is those are the computers for players that meet the minimum system requirements, but does not meet the recommended system requirements. And within that specific frame of computer systems, sometimes you're able to run the game, but I've had multiple issues. I've seen multiple issues to where there's a whole lot of people who are experiencing FPS drops, and because they meet the minimum system requirements, they're like, hey, I benchmark tested for this on low and 140 FPS, but now I'm getting 60. It's not a big deal, but it's still that's still a problem. And writing in min-rec systems, you're getting a whole lot of FPS drops. And at first I was like, well, there's been, countless, countless driver updates. There's also, firmware updates. There's also BIOS updates. There's all sorts of different updates that you can do. And even if your system is up to date, it still has FPS drops in min-rec systems. Personally, I have a high-end system. I'm actually streaming on my main gaming system. You can actually look at the specs down below. But I haven't had experiences with FPS drops myself. I've had a couple, to where in the middle of the game it would briefly show the imp and then it would just go away. But that being said, having a choice for players to choose what server you want to be on is actually pretty good. Even though I'm from NA, I've chosen NA East, NA Central, NA West. And I've actually been on the EU server, which is 140 ping. Wasn't very good because I stink. But within that particular choice, even though it's set to auto by default, the players can go in and go, well, I want to play in, I'm from North America, I want to play with my EU friends, and they can do that. And that's vice versa too. It's like, oh, I'm in the EU, I want to play with my North American friends. They can do that. I've actually had a game yesterday to where the player was from Australia, and they were playing on the NA server with a friend, and it works. It's a high ping, but it works. But I also have to say, this is a friendly reminder. You do not have to use game first. Whenever you get a issue with the connection with the servers, the in-game notification will pop up and say, "Hey, do you want to use game first?" Which is a service that it's somehow connected with the developers or publishers. I don't know what the relationship is between them, but it's basically just a packet redirect service. And I don't use that unless it's like a DNS service. I use 1.0 for every single device that I have, and it's amazing. I love it. It's basically just a packet redirect service. So basically, you're in this location, and let me get my finger in there. You're in this location, okay, and then the server's in this location. What typically happens is that it goes from hub to hub to hub to hub to hub, then to the server, okay? What something like GainFirst is instead of going hub to hub to hub to hub to server, it's go hub to server. That's it. Whereas in something like 1.0, it will still choose those hubs, but it will redirect it into the most optimized route possible. So it could go here, but it can skip this hub down here and just go straight to the server. So it's also like some of the services here, some of them are pretty much like snake oil. Like there's another service, I forgot what it is. It's from Razer, and I was like, well, this is just a packet redirect. I have one dot for that, and I don't need it. It's pretty much like snake oil, you know. It may reduce your ping by a small amount, but that's about it. So that you can use it. It's safe to use, as far as I know. I've done some research on who Game First is, but more than likely, it's just like it will just like have that packet, and it will just redirect it, and maybe it'll take 10-15 ping off of it, if that. So another ugly is game modes. There are a lot of variety, which I give them that. There's a lot of game modes, but I think there's way too many game modes, especially like I looked at the list of game modes and I was like, man, there's a lot. But it also splits focus on development. So let's say let's say they want to add a feature to Shard Clash. But now there's like a whole group of developers who are going in and developing for game modes. Well, sad to say, but the game modes are going to take priority because there's more people going in there instead of the main mode, which is Shard Clash, you know, which the community is actually more focused on the three modes, which is Shard Clash, Ranked, and Team Deathmatch. But with the addition of the game modes that we have, it splits the community way too much. Because now you're going into, let's say you're going in and queuing for a game, and now you're seeing all of these different game modes, and you're like, which one do I want? And then let's say you queue up for that, which I actually did that last time. I wanted to go into Duel Masters mode, and I waited for about 30 minutes in queue. I was also playing the scrimmage mode while I was waiting. Didn't get a game. Whereas I could go into a regular Shard Clash mode and it's like 15 seconds, if that. So it's just, there's way too many modes. There's also, especially for Team Deathmatch, the game modes are just, they need map redesigns. I think I'm going to kind of hark on Team Deathmatch. If you enjoy it, fine, great, wonderful. But I think Team Deathmatch is awful. There's too many spawn campers. These maps are way too small. It just needs a full rework. Even the addition of shard cards in Team Deathmatch is kind of weird. I think, like I said, Team Deathmatch just needs a rework. It needs a major overhaul. But I do like scrimmage. I do like the PvE thing, the practice thing. I think there should be more additional game modes while you're in queue for like Shard Clash, Ranked, and TDM. Again, something like Aim Trainer in this game while you're in queue warming up for Ranked, that would be amazing in this game. Even something like a kind of a short survival mode, like a roguelike or something like that, to where you go in, and then when you die, you get back in. You have a timer for a spawn or something like that. Something while you're in queue that players will enjoy, and it will also warm you up for something like Shard Clash, something like Ranked. So that's just my opinion. So, with that being said, we did the good, the bad, and the ugly. So what are the solutions to the major problems within the game? Because there is a lot of problems within the game, especially in the community point of view. So what's the first one? More robust anti-cheats. You need it. It's the anti-cheat is just not good. It's just swinging way too much to where it's also causing collateral damage. I'd say keep the kernel level, because unfortunately cheats are kind of like a cat and mouse thing. Once you patch up a cheat, there's going to be like two right around the corner that will patch that patch out. So keep the kernel level, but add manual reviews. So this keeps not only the game like cheater, free, but it also adds kind of an accountability to the developers to say, hey, we've made a manual review on this. We didn't catch it, that any cheat didn't catch it, but we made a manual review and we determined that yes, this person was cheating. We banned him. Again, the system that they have right now, it's all automated. So I've had multiple people to say, hey, this person cheated. We reported them. Nothing happened. That's what manual reviews are there for. They made a post that says no mercy for cheaters, but you got to have mercy for false positives. Like if somebody did not cheat, you need an appeal system. You need something that will say, hey, I didn't cheat. Take a look at this. Hey, I didn't cheat. There's no cheating programs on my computer. Use your, kernel level anti-cheat. Look at my hard drive and, do a quick scan on it and see I don't have any cheats on it. You need an appeal system. We'll get to the communication side of the developers in a bit, but another option, get rid of Fanwell. It's not actually made for, it's actually not made for FPS games. That's a kind of a fun fact that people kind of miss, is that Fanwell anti-cheat was made for third-person action adventure games. It was never made for first-person tactical shooters. So there's kind of like, sure, you can kind of stick a round peg in a square hole, or stick a square peg in a round hole, whatever the figure of speech is. But the anti-cheat system is not made for tactical shooters. It's not even made for first-person point of view tactical shooters. Easy anti-cheat is. Easy anti-cheat is actually built into Unreal Engine. Not many people know that, but yeah, it's actually built into Unreal Engine. But there's also an SDK of Easy Anti-Cheat that you can just plop into any engine, and it'll just work, And they even the Easy Anti-Cheat actually has an appeal process. That's through Epic Games itself, but it does have an appeals process. Even NetEase Anti-Cheat, the same anti-cheat that are used for Marvel Rivals. Now, there's kind of a misconception that Fanwell equals NetEase Anti-Cheat, which is not correct. Fanwell Anti-Cheat is actually a fork of NetEase Anti-Cheat. So there's certain aspects of that anti-cheat that are similar to NetEase's anti-cheat, but there's also some files and some scan systems that are not equal to NetEase anti-cheat. So even something within a more robust anti-cheat system, like Vanguard is like the go-to for anti-cheat systems. Again, they even have an appeal system. Like you can just email a Riot customer support and they'll get back to you within, if they're not in a business in their business thing, it'll reply back and go, hey, we're not open right now, but we'll get to you as soon as we can, and they'll email you the next day. Again, with the current system that we have, the communication, it's just not good, which leads to more robust player support system. Why is there one email for everything is beyond me? Split it up. You have one email for technical issues, one email for player ban appeals. And you're like, well, what about, bug reports? I'll get to that in a little bit. But, having one email system for everything just has everything like lost in translation or like lost in the shuffle. And for more important issues, that might get skipped. So if you split the email system for one for technical issues, one for player ban appeals, or one for something else, or one for something else, then you can go into that email system and go, oh, okay, there's where it is. So again, if you split the email system, you're actually like subjugating the subject to that particular that particular system. With bug reports, though, this is kind of like my idea. It's not my idea. I have actually stolen this from when I used to be a moderator for Shadowline. Was use Discord in conjunction with another program. We used Trello, and people can do a bug report and post a video with that bug report and say, hey, this is what's going on. This is a video of what is going on with that particular bug. The developers can slow that video down and go, oh, okay, this is what happens. Let's see if we could replicate that in a test environment and see if we can patch that out. You need to also, with that, timely communication between players and developers. You need a system to where, let's say a bug was reported on the Trello board, for example. There's an option of awaiting developer response, and then the developer can post it on, change the status of that to let's say in progress, bug fix in progress. And then once they patched that out and they tested it and they said, hey, we fixed this bug, it's not going to be in the game, then they can change the status to say, hey, hot fix is on the way, or hey, this is going to be patched out in the next patch. This actually gives a lot of power to the players to say, hey, we want to make this game better. And it also provides a lot of feedback to the developers to say, hey, maybe we should do something with this, and I found that system works very, very, very well. I think the last patch that I did on Shadowline, we've patched out close to 1,200 bugs in a span of 4 patches. And yes, it's going to put a strain on like a moderator or like a certain part of the community to where they'll post it up on the Trello board. It could be even like developers or helpers or something like that. Will put a strain on it, but over time that strain will relieve itself. So, also put hints and spoilers on future updates and events. Like, actually build excitement. Actually know what your mindset is on certain changes within the game. Like, hey, we're putting in like an additional 2 damage on Nitro's turret, for example. Let us know what you think about that. Or hey, we for Nitro's wall, we added a extra square. This is our this is kind of for an example. This is our thought process behind it. Hey, you put one wall on top of the other, that wall on top gets destroyed, and the one on the bottom, stays. This is what our thought process is on that. One great example of that is, you have to look it up on YouTube, but Freak from Riot Games actually explains the thought processes behind different patches and what kind of behind the scenes discussions they have with the game. And it's an amazing tool. There were multiple videos that I've watched and go, that's interesting, or that's actually a good idea. That's actually like a really good idea, and it's really cool that it's in the game, and it kind of creates this transparency within the developer and community to where they know they want to know what the future of the game is, and then the community will actually see that and go, oh, that's a good change, or maybe this is going to be a problematic thing. So Then I know the biggest elephant like in the room for the game itself is rework monetization systems in the UX UI. My solution, because there's 12 currencies, way too much, should be pared down to just 2. The FragPunk coins and either the orange coins or Glowlight coins, either or will work. The FragPunk points is your premium currency. You can spend it on the Battle Pass system. You can spend it on skins. You can spend it on whatever you want. And that's like in real life currency. The in-game currency would be like orange coins or Glowlight coins. Again, I haven't when I was writing this down, there was kind of like plus and minuses to both of those systems. So you can combine the 2 in-game ones into one and kind of choose either or. But it all streamlines that processes so there's no confusion on the end user. Because, again, 12 currencies, some of which are not even currencies itself, they're progression systems. So why are they named currencies? I don't know. But if you streamline those currencies, then there's no confusion. You have, this is in-game currency. There's no money involved. Or, hey, this is FragPunk coins. There is money involved. That's it. That's very simple, straightforward, easy to implement. Also, regional pricing is a must. If I spend $20 in the United States, that should be $20 in Brazil or Russia or, Saudi Arabia, something like that. Regional pricing has to be a must because it is getting ridiculous to where my $20 might be $50 in Brazil. My $20 might be $10 in Russia. I'm just using that for example. Again, I don't know what the regional pricing is or what the the conversion rates are, but still, that needs to be a must. Also, remove the gotcha system. It's so predatory. It's so scummy. Just make the skins direct purchasable. Why are we doing a gotcha system where we have a 0.01% chance of getting that without the pity system? And in the pity system, you just move the decimal point one place. Just remove the system. If we wanted something similar to a gotcha system, there's loot boxes. Yay. We have loot boxes. Yes, I know in Belgium, for example, loot boxes are illegal, but here in the United States, it's not illegal. And it's not a great system, but just make every skin direct purchasable. Now, for next patch, a combination with Lancer skin keys and weapon skin keys, that's a start. Just, again, first point, currency should just be pared down to 2. The sticker system should be free. Why? Whenever I do a combination, which also brings me to another point with the weapon system. I didn't put this on there, but when you remove a sticker or remove a charm from a weapon, that actually costs orange essence just to remove it. And I'm like, why is that even a thing? That shouldn't be a thing. If I wanted to remove it, I shouldn't be punished for that. It's dumb. And same with the sticker system. If I wanted to combine something, it's now I'm being punished for that because now there's a system tied to that. It's a customization option. It's a sticker. It's meaningless outside of the game. It should be free. If I wanted to plop down a sticker onto a weapon, great. If I wanted to unlock a sticker, I can use the in-game orange or Glowlight coins. There's no need for this. There's no need to tie the sticker system to a monetized value. Don't even use the orange or Glowlight coins. Just have them unlocked through regular gameplay. At the end of a match, here's some stickers. If you want to combine them, okay, here's the item combiner. Go have fun with that. Oh, you unlock something that's super, super rare? Great, wonderful, awesome. You didn't pay anything. It's not hard. So, and then Something I also noticed is that the Lancer, every Lancer should, once you do unlock a Lancer, it should have its cost reduced significantly. I think the last, even with even without the battle pass system, I think it's like 25 to 30 games to unlock a Lancer. Yeah, that's good if you're like wanting to learn a game and you're like, ooh, I want to unlock this Lancer. But if let's say you want to unlock that Lancer, you want to learn that particular Lancer for solo queue, 18,888, orange coins is very, very slow, especially for free to play players. Reduce that significantly. Yeah, yes, you can unlock it with FragPunk coins. I don't know anybody who has unlocked it through FragPunk coins, because why even bother? You can just unlock it through in-game progression. But I kind of debated whether all Lancers should be free, but to me, that could be an option, but having it just reduced significantly will incentivize players to unlock those Lancers, and it will incentivize players to say, oh, I only need 10, 15 games to unlock it. Great, I'll just learn through Chum or Sonar or something like that, and play them, learn the maps, learn the gunplay, and then I can unlock the Lancer that I want. So less menus, more substance within menu options. Currently, there is way too much menu options. It should be streamlined. So my idea, I don't have anything like written up or any like mock-ups or anything like that, but store should be everything that is tied to spending something. So it could be anything from in-game to spending real world money. It should be anything like that. So that also includes the constellation events. That also includes freaking gotchas. Just remove that game. Remove that system. Anything that is tied to I want to spend something in the game. That's where you go. Just have store, and then store, here's all the skins, or here's all the weapon skins, or here's all the gacha system, here's your bag. Like, streamline it so that you're not buried into multiple menu options just to get what you want, and you're also not buried into multiple menu options just to customize something. Like, just have a customization. Like customization Lancer, here's all your skins. Customization Lancer, here's all the MVP skins, basically. So just streamline all of the menu options. And one thing that really bothers me is, why is there a global chat main menu? What is the purpose of that? Why is that even there to begin with? Just get rid of it. People go there just to type heinous stuff, and it's not moderated, so just get rid of it. People will chat in just regular in-game chat. Why is there global chat right in the main menu? Like, half the time I don't even see it, and then when I do see it, it's something so heinous and so horrible, and it's like, just get rid of it. It's not being moderated. Why even bother? So, yeah. And this needs to be also priority number one, though. Needs more development time. It is, I'd have to say it is released. It isn't a stable thing, but it could be a lot better. One of the things is this is kind of for the developers. I doubt they'll tune into this or see the video on demand after this, but fix the more pressing issues first. You need to triage. If it's something game breaking, fix that first. If it's something like on the back end, it's like, oh, hey, this particular asset didn't load correctly. You can press that back until you can go fix the more pressing issues first, then go back and see why that asset didn't load. Because right now there's a lot of technical issues within the game, and it's not being treated properly. There's stuff on the patch notes that are like, well, okay, but what about this issue? You need that triage system, and it goes back to the communication. You need to communicate why you made those decisions in the first place. Fix the server infrastructure. That's the big thing. Marvel Rivals had it right. They have a great server infrastructure. Even CS2, even though they have, I think, 21 or 22 servers, their servers are very, very stable. I think last time I checked, there was they actually have websites out there that you can track and check what the status of each individual CS2 server is. And I have not seen a server that has said that went above overloaded. And then when it does have, let's say, hey, server usage is very high, it will redirect it to another server without the end user even knowing. So, that should be priority number one. Well, one of the first priorities in getting this game back on track is you need to fix the server infrastructure because it's just not good. Again, there's a lot of route flapping issues. There's a lot of just basic server infrastructure problems that people are leaving in droves because of that. You also have to add more servers in underutilized regions like, again, MENA, South Africa, split the European server into like 2, maybe 3, split the South American server into 2. You may have something going on there. It goes back to get the community involved with bug fixes. Again, the community is just as passionate about the game succeeding as developers and the publishers. I've seen it time and time again that people just want the game to succeed. That's why they're passionate about that. That's why, like, when I went back to Shatterline, we had for about a year and a half, we had 650 people. That's it, 650 players playing the game. And they were still providing bug reports. They were still providing feedback on the game, even though it pretty much fell on deaf ears. They were still providing that feedback. They still cared about that game, and the same thing is going to happen to here. People still do care about FragPunk. They want it to succeed, so give them the tools to have them succeed, and give them the tools to say, "Hey, we want to have this." Bug fixed. We want this game to succeed just as much as you do. And that also says less development time on game modes. We already have enough game modes, but you also need to fix this. You also need to triage what you have and say, hey, maybe fix the server issues. Maybe fix this, very glaring bug to where after 15 minutes, the people get booted right back into the main menu. Fix those issues first. Game modes can wait. We already have plenty of those. They're on rotation. That's fine. But if those long-standing bugs are still being in the game, but there's new game modes, people are not going to play the game modes because there's still problems within the game. So fix those problems first, then add more game modes, not the other way around. So in conclusion, I know we've gone about almost an hour and a half. I'm so sorry, but it's a good start, but it needs a lot more attention, especially from the developers. The game is in a good spot. Like, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy playing FragPunk, especially the Shark Clash mode. The community also seems to enjoy what it is right now. There's a lot of people who play different game modes. That's fine. I play a lot of Shark Clash. It's fun. It's the best mode there is. If developers focus on Shark Clash to make it the best game mode that there is, players will still come in and enjoy that. Say, hey, come and play FragPunk. Come and play the Shark Clash. There's some crazy, wacky stuff that are going in there because the Shark card system is really unique, really fun. It's there, and players will just naturally gravitate towards it because I don't know if you know about the um like the tactical shooter aspect of this game. This is kind of like the antithesis of something like CS2 or Rainbow Six Siege or something like very militaristic, very serious, whereas in FragPunk, it doesn't take itself seriously, and that's what makes it fun. You know, hey, you can try this wacky, crazy idea here, and it just might fit into this game. So, again, the developers have something special in here. And the reason, like, the game itself has some sticking power. Okay, it's still bringing in players, and the players that they do have are still sticking around and playing it. So there is some sticking power into it, but they have to double down on what makes that player be retained and stick that in there. So the patch for chapter 2 is a good start. I don't know if it's going to be enough. I'm just being honest. I don't know if it's going to be enough. There's a lot of map changes. It's great. There's a lot of balance changes, but core issues are still radio silent on here, unfortunately. So, but that being said, developers need to communicate more, especially on long-standing issues. It needs a more robust system to make the community better. Again, any cheats, bug reports, the email system, in the community, it needs to be worked on as soon as possible. Those systems need to be in place like yesterday, especially like right at launch. For again, one email for everything is not cutting it. The patch for season 2, again, it might not be enough to bring back players. Long-standing issues have not been resolved, or it's like not even in the patch notes, and I'm very, very worried about like if it's going to be enough for that. So that being said, as it stands right now, I am increasingly concerned about the future of the game. The game is fun. It does have some sticking power, but with this upcoming patch, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Like right now, there's like less than 10,000 players. It used to be over 100,000 players, and now there's like 10,000 concurrent players. If long-standing issues are not resolved and it's not addressed, and it's like, well, there's also patches after patches after patches, I don't know what the future is going to be like for this game. So this is kind of like a wait and see right now. So that's it. The next report I'm going to do for The Good, Bad, the Ugly is going to be at the end of chapter 2. I don't know when that's going to be. This season was like 85, 86 days long. It was a long season, but you also bring in console players here, and that's going to be it. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in, and I don't know when I'm going to be streaming again. Yeah, I need to get on that because my schedule is just all over the place right now, but thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. And there's a cockroach in my kitchen. I got to get on that. Anyways, thank you guys. Bye.